Hello. We made it. We made it. We made it. I think we made it. My Twitch is having a fit now, but I think we're there. We're there. We seem to be there. Let's go back here. Okay. Good. I'd like to start sounding like a professional. No, we didn't get that today, but that's all right. One of these times. Okay. Hello. My name is Kevin. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. And it is Thursday, and it has been way too long since me and this particular group of friends got to sit down and beat the heck out of each other in this amazing game of Ironsworn, where it's complicated has taken on a whole new meaning. Helping me do this first time tonight, we've got Robin playing Caradwin, Karis playing Amala, and Austin playing Gear. I am Kevin, and I will be playing Bill. The game we're playing is Ironsworn in co-op mode, so none of us is running this. None of us is the DM or GM or narrator. We're all going to work together to tell the story. We can do this because Sean Tompkin made an amazing game, and Ethan made an equally amazing character sheet that gets a huge amount of information into a very compact and usable format. And without both of those, we would have trouble getting through this. But they've done their work, so now it's time for us to do ours. It is with great pleasure that I say, let's do what we always do and go around this circle and have a retrospective of what happened in the last episode from your character's point of view. And we had a volunteer to go first.
Okay. I feel like we're all just holding our breath now. Like, the calm here in Grey Barrow in this moment is somehow going to fall away. And we're just going to end up running from some horrible beast again. I don't even know how to put into words what's happened over the last days. I don't even know anymore. And maybe it just is a reflection of how sleep deprived I am. Maybe I'm just dwelling on negativity too much. I can still taste the iron from that river. I hope Bill and Amala are okay. They've been gone for a long time.
And so,
Well, then, yeah, let's leave Bill and Amala for the end.
Gear is sitting with his animals, and rather than speaking aloud to him, it's more of a conversation that's felt back and forth, this shared consciousness between them as he's pulling the sticks and the leaves from the white mane's fur and knitting the wound of the owl. And as he does so, there's this connection where he begins to just speak to them. And he says, I don't even know what that thing was. And you, as he begins to pull and stitch with the wound close with the red crest, you're made of something else. Something strong and fierce. The way you leapt into action like that, it was marvelous. Fantastic. We may owe our life to you. And you, and he nudges the white mane and gives her a playful little shove. Oh, You mirrored every move I made. It was fantastic. Maybe next time we see that thing, we'll be able to take it head on. Just the three of us. If there's anything left from what the Varu managed to shave off of it. And now we go back to that hole in the earth. Hopefully they've got their head screwed on a little better this time. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get a chance to rest. Get back to our full strength. Then we'll see what we're really capable of.
All right. Sorry, well, I briefly fixed something. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, that should have fixed that. Speaking of Bill and Mala, this is while Bill is dry heaving in the bushes right after he came back from his shadow walk. It just looking down at the ground, and again, it's all in his head to feet. It were me, feet. It were me. What did it? It were me. It's not how I remember it now, but it's how I saw. I saw it. And this huge celestial voice, galaxies wide, says, "Bill, you know better than to believe what you see in the shadows. Fate? Feet's never spoken to him before. Maybe it's Feet. Maybe it isn't.
Maybe Bill rolled in something psychedelic.
Pretty mushrooms.
He fell in Kevin's special drawer. Oops. Sorry, Amala, go ahead, please.
Grey Barrel has a new shaman, a young man called Aiden. And, I'm apparently his teacher. So, of course, the first thing I did was traumatize the poor kid. Yeah. I only meant to call the crows and introduce him, but the spirits took over. The augury took over, and we saw something very, very bad that happened in Bill's past. Yeah. Kind of viscerally too. Yeah. But then we gathered a little light and stepped through the shadow to seize on the home shaman. And you know those times when a veil is pulled back and you suddenly realize nothing is what you thought? Yeah, well, this was one of those times. I mean, I knew Tincture wasn't human, wasn't strictly a shaman as I thought of them, but, some other magical being that was sort of shaman-like. But it never occurred to me that Lena and Zahn were also not like me. Is that true of all shamans? I mean, maybe it's me. Maybe they are what I thought shamans were, and I'm the one who's not. I am. Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to ponder that later. I mean, poor Aiden doesn't need to be caught in the He probably does, doesn't he? I mean, if we are the future of shamanism, then we are alike in some real way. I don't suppose I should tell him that quite yet, though. What I should tell him. There's another part about being a shaman that isn't obvious until it is. You know? I mean, I wasn't really taught this, but it's not just, doing the rituals and having the visions. It's what you do after that, too. I need to have a talk with Bill. And I think that's an important enough part of being a shaman. I think Ada needs to see that too. I only hope I don't traumatize him further in the process.
Traumatize which one? Maybe both?
I think we can keep that ambiguous. Yeah.
She just hopes she doesn't traumatize anybody. Jokes on
know,
Amala. She's the only.
Yes,
Traumatizing
to be-
Bill might be
She's the only
fun.
human shaman. Aiden's secretly a bone walker.
There's only
Well,
there's
there
only
is a
one
skeleton
person.
inside here, yeah.
Yep.
We're all bone walkers.
So we are in Grey Barrow. Grey Barrow?
We're in Grey Barrow,
Yes.
and we ended last time with Amala and Aiden going off to get a drink.
Right. Right. And we were discussing what we were going to do next, right?
Well, we were all separated, so I don't know if any of us were discussing anything.
That's right. Okay. Right.
I think
The only ones who
uh,
are together are Gear and
It's been-
Caradwin.
It's been
Yeah,
a
who
long
are
time.
both-
I've completely forgotten half of what
Who are
happened.
completely
Who are
oblivious
playing-
to any of it.
Who are playing Who Can Arts and Crafts Better at the moment. They're sitting there like,
Oh. I totally believe that of the two of them.
what was the thing I said last time? All I could see is the silence and Gear asking for something, and Caradwin just like just throwing it at his face and it going BAM! And going, thanks.
Strange, I don't recall hearing about that in the recap.
That's what's happening now.
So, yes, speaking of happening now, who wants to start?
Okay, so Bill, you did go back in. Yes, you went back inside
Mhm.
before Gear came out to find you.
And
Yes.
yes, you were given a single red feather by the
By the
Oh,
owl.
the red
Yes,
crest.
thank you. I knew there was, yes. Right.
That's right. I remember that one.
I take notes, but notes are of no use unless you go back and read them. Somebody should put that in a video.
Hey, that's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
Ah,
Right, the red feathers. So, yes. And then, yeah, from that, Bill is absolutely silent from that point on, I would imagine, unless somebody directly engages him. Or
And
did
are
he
you
spill the
coming-
gut? Did he spill his guts? I don't think so, did he?
He didn't
No.
tell us.
No.
How does he look when he comes back to where Caradwin is?
Like he's been dry heaving in a bush for half an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, so like
so,
normal.
Yeah. So
Did you find a bottle, Bill? No.
So Caradwin's been working on her bow as she has been for the last who knows how many days anymore. And she'll look up when Bill comes back and kind of see him looking just thrashed, which is kind of not uncommon, but for
Yep.
but for how he looked before he left, it's different. It's like something happened.
I actually want to do this.
I hear dice rolling.
No, I like that better.
Dice? Dice?
Yeah, I didn't
Dice?
I didn't
We
even
haven't
look
done
at the
anything
actual
except the
move
recap.
yet. Just to see how he responded to what he saw. So I was enduring stress.
Oh no! What happens on? Are you taking the miss? Or are you burning
-1
momentum?
momentum and
I don't think he would burn the momentum on that.
No, I don't
minus
think so either. I
spirit
was just
equal to your
checking.
foe's rank or appropriate to the situation. I like how that's phrased. I like how that's phrased a lot. Here, you decide. Thank you, game. I liked you very much. I am going.
Isn't that
That
what we
was
do
a
anyway?
complete miss. I'm going to take 2 spirit for that. So yeah,
Mark
now
the
he's
failure
down. We
track.
were all up to 4s all the way across the board. Bill's back down to 2, back where
Okay.
he belongs.
That makes sense.
So yeah,
But we haven't had a
And-
chance to sojourn yet. We skipped that
Yeah.
one.
no, yes.
And,
Oh, yeah,
and so,
yeah.
so Caradwin will kind of look up as he kind of comes into where she and Gear and the herd have
Yeah. And the
kind of
only
taken
color
up
is
spot.
the red feather.
Bill, are you okay?
I feet. Nope.
Did something happen?
Couple of summits actually. I don't know if I should believe either one of them. I think
Any-
feet just talked to me. And normally I'd be all happy about that. But I think the only reason he did it is because I was about to explode.
What do you mean? What happened?
I've never been scared in the shadows before, miss. So I was feeling all brave and confident. And I went a-looking back. Because I've been putting something off since we started. Very, very bad man I got to find. He kind of reaches up and touches the shovel. So I went tootling back to have a look like I was all in control of the situation. And I weren't. And he were there, and he looked at me. And it were me, miss. And he killed all them for them little 2 iron nails in my shovel.
It couldn't have been you, though, Bill.
Oh, feet don't think so neither. Nope. Well, besides, I got that crazy woman in there too. Now that I think about it, I shouldn't trust nothing, I think.
Bill, they said that they had seen him in Kinheim recently. You've been with us.
I went shadow walking, I did. I'm quite good at it. I thought I was. I got right cocky, miss. I knew better before. Started being all heroic. I should have known better.
Bill, you're not a killer.
Without good reason.
It makes no sense for you to have been the man you saw kill someone. It must have been maybe something else, something deeper.
That's what Feet said. He said, Bill, you know the shadows lie.
Back to that. He talked to you.
Scritch. And Feet, I'm assuming, comes up on my shoulder and gives you innocent Feet face. I'm
Those
just a
Feet
bug.
nuts?
Yeah.
Gear
Maybe-
raises an eyebrow.
maybe you should sit down and try
Well, there's
to
no maybe
take
about
some
that,
deep
miss.
breaths.
He's
She's
settling
kind of
slowly
like,
down by the fire.
maybe
Yeah.
you need to take a rest
Right,
here.
miss, and the pack on, he sort of lays over feet, kind of falls out of the pack as he does it, and Bill's, unless you keep him awake, he's
No,
it's one of those
Carradine will just,
defensive go to sleeps, like, I can't deal with this, I'm out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Carradine will kind of like just meet eyes with Gear, just kind of
And
like,
Bill just shrivels up and goes to sleep.
Well, Bill's horizontal gear kind of moves forward and just grabs the owl by its wings, just like pop, lifts it up and puts it on Bill's face. And it just like fluffs its feathers up, gets nice and cozy.
nests.
Done. I am keeping track of this owl. It's moving around on the screen as we speak. There it went. Yep. All right.
And probably
So,
shortly
unbeknownst
after.
to Bill, the owl is now standing in his ear, and one of its feathers, I've decided, is on a leather string around his neck. Because he's got no hat to put it in, so, or hair, honestly. So, he's wearing it as a necklace.
I think about shortly after that would be when Amala and Aiden would come in looking for a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Bill was just speaking a bunch of nonsense. I'm sure he found some drink.
That's what Carradine and Gear would probably assume, that there's something going on.
Yeah, Gear would probably bend down and kind of smell the breath of Bill.
Ew.
See if-
Smells like vomit.
Yeah.
good point.
Yep. Yep. Which,
Good
to
point.
be fair, probably supports your theory.
Yeah.
So how did he get so drunk he threw up? He was only gone for an hour.
He saw.
Although if
That's
you're-
why he said, "Come find me." If I don't come back, he didn't want to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as you guys are reacting on that, I mean,
Blackout
Amala
Bill.
and Aiden turn and look at each other and rather somberly.
Oh yes, non-magical folk have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
That's true.
As magical like dunces are just like, what's wrong with him? Like, that's
Cheer up,
weird.
kid. Like,
That's weird.
you're a big shot now.
I just realized you said that you wanted to have a conversation with Bill, so he doesn't have to be asleep. He can be just going to sleep.
No.
What?
This works fine.
Okay.
This
Well,
works.
she's gonna wake your ass up.
Uh-huh. But not yet. Not quite yet.
Oh yeah, Bill's in trouble. I forgot. Actually, I don't know.
But and so then after sort of looking at Aiden and
And Aiden's never met anybody else. He's only met Amala, by the way.
yeah.
So this big burly guy and Carradine and Bill.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I should introduce you. This is Gear, and that is Carradine.
And the white mane doesn't like new people.
And the guy over there under the owl, well, you saw him earlier. That's Bill. And they're kind of my circle that I'm the shaman for.
Oh, hi.
Oh, this is Aiden, everybody. This is Grey Barrow's new shaman.
Hi.
He's the confident sort.
Yes. Confident.
Gear stands up, moves over, it lockstep with the white mane. The white mane's ears are
He's
down,
like 2 feet taller than this kid.
and they both simultaneously get right in his face and go, and
That
they
means
turn
he
around.
thinks you're okay.
Nice.
It does.
Okay.
Mhm.
At least he didn't like you.
You know, there's upsides.
That's even funnier if the white mage said it.
Yeah, if animals are talking now, I mean.
You were saying about Bill?
He was acting. He said he saw who killed the family that he witnessed.
And Amala and Aiden look at each other.
He said he did it.
He said he saw himself. What? That doesn't make sense.
He said the man was looking for his iron.
Yeah, that's what Word said. Dashi said he is an iron collector. But that's not what we. And he'll kind of look to Amala.
And Amala's looking over at Bill, kind of really taking in what she's looking at and seeing him, sort of shrunken in and then, looking past the owl.
And Weena told you that you should keep an eye on him and look out for him.
And so Amala heads over and gently lifts the owl off. That's not going to be a safe place in a minute.
Owl hops over and hops onto the white mane.
Bill!
Yeah.
Get up!
Right. And he's somehow 6 feet away and standing up.
Gear leans over and pushes the door closed.
Bill?
Aiden's just watching from a distance, like, not sure what's going on.
So, Bill, this is Aiden. Aiden is the new shaman of Grey Barrow.
Right.
And I am his shaman teacher.
Right.
And you need to come with us. Now.
Caradwin looks over to Gear. Oh, he's in trouble.
Jerry.
Because I specifically said he laid down with his pack still on. He just drops the pack off, like he's trying to leave it and Feet behind, but Feet does that. He scurries up the back of his neck and sits on his shoulder. But yeah, you can tell. Feet's on your side.
I just imagine Feet on one shoulder, the owl on the other.
I imagine when Amala is scolding him, the white mane's behind her "Argh!"
Oh yeah.
And the owl's doing this.
Yep.
And so Amala stands up in her most formal pose.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the echoes of Weena on her here.
Yep.
And she heads out the door that Gear closed. And she kind of listens to make sure that both Bill and Aiden are following, but she doesn't turn around to look unless it sounds like they're not.
Oh, Aiden's following. There's no question.
Bill is following too, and I don't think she'd see because she'd already be gone, but the other two would probably see for a split second before he goes back to being deeply in trouble there's a moment of pride in Amala for taking over and being like shaman. He's like, right, I'm gonna pay the price for this. Then and out the door he goes.
And Gear leans over and stops the door from closing and opens it up a little bit so you can hear.
And Amala leads them out and up and outside.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Send the white man.
You can come spy on it if you want. And she leads over to the mound where we defeated Tincture.
Mm-hmm.
And she sits down, kind of like she did when, kind of like she did when she was waiting for the Varu. That should everybody sit down.
And
Yeah, Aiden
he
will
sits where he's
follow.
told. Yep.
So, I don't really know anything about being a teacher, right? And so I called the crows because I was going to introduce Aiden and the crows.
Wait.
Oh dear. I probably ought to do that again, but I think I'm going to do it a little differently.
You go right ahead. Right ahead, miss.
So I send out my spirit to call the crows, but this time instead of doing kind of my normal then giving into it, I kind of hold a little bit of myself back. And so when they come, I'm basically just asking them to form a circle.
Mm-hmm.
I probably ought to roll wits to see how well I do that or whether I fall into a...
Narrative
Didn't
success.
occur to me I might start the augury thing again, but oh.
The crows don't come.
This is off to a good start, guys.
It's kind of, do the crows not come or do they
Failure
fall
track,
into
both
the
of
augury?
you.
Or do I fall into the augury?
Well, what does it say for a miss on an augury? Let's build off of that.
It says
Let's see. On a strong hit, you interpret their calls as a helpful omen. On a weak hit, they ignore your question and offer a clue to something else. They don't say anything at all about what happens on a failure.
you're gonna have to make it up.
I'm gonna have
Okay.
to look it up.
Back
Do
to
you
you.
want to pay the price and see what it says? Maybe get an idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Faded.
Faded. Ooh, cheering. Yay. Oh, thank you, Faded.
wow.
Let's see here. What am I doing? Where do I pay the price?
Welcome back, man. It's been a while. Good to see you back.
Ah, here's pay the price. Fate moves.
Because I have a horrible. Oh, twice more. Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Because I saw Robin have a horrible thought, and I have had a horrible thought. So maybe
Tell me both
instead
of
of
your
rolling
horrible
twice,
thoughts.
we'll just employ both horrible thoughts.
Tell me your horrible thoughts.
Mine is very quick. The crows, the ravens can't get close because Cassandra, the tether that she has
Callista.
to Bill, Callista, sorry. The tether that she has to Bill, she uses to push shadow energy through to keep them back.
I'll have to think about that one. And what was your terrible idea, Robin?
My idea was just that the crows don't show up. That you don't feel them nearby.
Ruh-roh.
And you just don't know why. Maybe only Bill knows why.
I think Well, I don't know that Bill would know why, because I don't.
It might be a completely
the-
different reason, but
It might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there is a kind of war going on
Oh,
nearby.
except, well. So she,
Sorry, I just looked over and saw what
I
Fate had
sent out my
actually did.
did you?
out
Yeah.
my spirit.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, so I send out my spirit, and it echoes out, and you can just see on her face this expression of resignation. Of course, I don't necessarily know what they did. And she digs in her pouch. She pulls out the pouch of salt, and she gets up for a minute, centers herself, and walks the circle around them, leaving a little trail of salt. And when she gets to the end of it and is putting the pouch back away, she thinks about it a minute. And then she pricks her finger and puts a drop of blood where the salt joined. And she comes and she sits back down. So I meant to call the crows to do introductions. And you know how I've taken to having those auguries with the vision sort of stuff? And she's kind of looking at Bill.
Right. Right.
Well, we kind of fell into that. And she's kind of looking over at Aiden. And we had a vision. Of something from your past.
Uh-huh.
Something that I suspect has been preying heavily on your spirit.
And his hand's just up on the shovel.
You didn't bring your pack.
That's right. So
Yeah,
his hand
don't
is on
have
his. He reaches for it. You know what he's reaching for, but thank you. That's even better. It's like this. It's not.
it's air.
Yeah.
Your friends told us a little that you saw something. He's kind of continuously
Uh-huh.
looking at Amala like, I
Yep.
don't want, like, this is your circle, man. Like,
That's perfect because he turns to Aiden because he can tell you. He can't look them all in the eyes right now. I saw me doing it.
that's what they said.
But it can't be me because I was in the cupboard watching. How can I watch me do it?
We didn't see you do it. We saw someone do it. Uh, it was awful, but it wasn't you. You were behind us in the hiding.
Did you see their face?
Mm-hmm.
And he like, lunges at you and grabs your shirt and just pulls you in. Were it me?
No, no, no. We didn't see you do it. It was man, but it wasn't you.
Big fella, right? Much bigger than me, right?
Uh-huh. Kind of a scary face.
Right, not like that, not like this.
No, he was younger too.
And only now can he turn to look at Amala. And he just... There's only one word for it. He's groveling. Like, he's 6 inches away from you. He will not touch you, but he's on the ground just help me. That's all you hear. He's just right into the dirt. Help me.
And he will look to Aiden will look to Amala. Do you think something made him see himself? Or that it was some kind of guilt? Because Aiden doesn't really know the situation. He just knows what he saw.
Yeah.
I don't think I would hazard a guess about what Shadow was doing.
Right, you said he did a ritual, or Weena said, someone said he did something that I don't really know about.
Shadow, I've only really dealt much with Shadow the past 10 day or a little more.
Don't look at things in the shadows, because if you do, they can look back.
Yeah, you told me that. And Shadow lies. Sometimes Shadow lies with the truth, but not always.
Does it could lie to hurt you too, right? Because it would know what would hurt most if it knows the truth.
I don't think Shadow cares what is true.
Bill looks back over at Aiden again. Well, at least we know they picked the right one to be the shaman here.
They did?
And Amala smiles. Oh yeah.
I've got a lot to learn about shaman things.
Now, where have I heard that before? And his eyes just shift over to Amala. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I met who she studied under. She's scary.
They're not
But
all
then-
the same, shaman. You don't have to be scary like her.
Well, and I worked
And
for
it's fun
Tincture.
sometimes, though. Yeah,
I worked for Tincture, so
So maybe you leave that part off to the side a little bit and try a different approach.
yeah, he would just wave his hands and things would happen.
He was a shit, is what he was. And you're going to be a
Yeah,
damn sight better than that.
I hope so. I'm gonna try.
Besides, you've got a great teacher, right?
yeah, teacher traumatizes him first thing.
Well,
I mean,
your
tosses you in the
teacher
deep
said
end.
your teacher said you were a good teacher.
I don't know why she did that. She's never seen me teach.
Or has she?
She's seen what you taught yourself, if I might be so bold. And while we're on the
Yeah.
subject, thank you. I was scared right shitless.
Does he know that she's not like us?
What?
Wait. Wait on that one, Aiden. I think it's time. And Amala gets up and uses her foot and breaks the circle. See, Aiden, that's the next conversation we have to have.
Oh, okay.
Because I think we need Caradwin and gear for that one.
Okay.
So, Mala gets up. And she's back to being herself. She doesn't use her
Mhm.
You
Weena
start
pose.
walking back
Yeah.
down, and like it's like in the movies where you open the door and Carrot and Gear fall out.
I just like to point out that we've got Shaman Amala and Shaman Aiden. Shaden and Shamala, if you will.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks,
wow.
Austin. Just what we needed.
I've been sitting on that one.
I can tell.
Go back in the bot and you'll see where I go.
Speaking of the two of you that stayed behind, we did go specifically outside. So did you follow us or did you guys stay inside? And if so,
Caradwin
what
wouldn't have
happened?
followed.
He asked leadingly. Needing a
Caradwin's doing the
break.
same thing she's been doing for hours. She's working on this stupid bow because she has nothing else to do because she and Gear don't know that something major has happened. Nobody's talking to them.
There hasn't been time. There's been too much going on.
Nobody said,
um,
hey, some major shit happened in the spirit world.
we're
We're about to.
we're keeping our ears out though, because the last thing we know is there's this really uneasy kind of relaxation that's going on, because out in the forest there's a Leshen and a group of Varu that are, engaged. And so we're just waiting to hear the result of that to see if like the trees start falling down around us or anything.
Yeah. Or if like the tunnel starts to cave in or whatever. But just kind of keeping an eye out and like ear out and then listening for when they would return, and also for any news about the Varu, and just kind of like doing their typical like I don't know if standoff's the right word, but just they're like the conversations they have with looks and just like body language.
There, every once in a while there'll be just like a really awkward exchange.
Yeah. More
Hope
things
that thing
thrown.
doesn't hope that thing doesn't come out of the trees soon. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the Varu can keep it from getting to Grey Barrow.
And that's it. That's a bit.
Just snippets like that.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
anything interesting. It's just
Fair enough. Yeah. So, I think it's fair to say Amala leads us back.
Actually. Yeah.
you have a friend.
That was inevitable. Oh, that was. I have been waiting to see that noise for over 2 years now. So yeah, this is a peak moment.
Hand it off.
Mystery hand.
Hand it off to your stagehand.
Yes. Oh wow. Okay.
I'm not
Completely
sure,
forgot where we were. Sorry.
Amala would kind of stand back a little and let Aiden lead. I mean, we're going into
Oh.
Aiden's circle.
You're right. That's an excellent idea.
But we're going to talk to your circle.
Yeah, that's true, but it's in your circle's common room.
Yeah.
Sounds
There,
like
yeah.
your people.
So there's that kind of as they try and get behind each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that weird like, no, you go first, no, you go first.
Mhm.
And then Aiden will lead the way because like he's grown up here, so he does know the twists and turns of
Sure.
Grey Barrow better, and so he will kind of walk back down. As Caradwin and Gear hear the footsteps of you guys, you're coming down, and maybe not talking because it's still kind of like somber and like, ooh, big news. But you know, it's kind of like, oh great, they didn't die. The Lushan didn't come barreling out of the woods. Like,
We've
cool.
forgotten all about the Leshen. I still
Yeah.
missed it. I'll get it at some point. Yeah, we've forgotten all about the Leshen.
Yeah.
And that's all Caradwin and Gear know is the danger.
Yep.
Because we're ritual dumb.
Yeah.
We're trying quickly to finish our weapons in case this comes to a fight. It's probably gonna take 2 or 3 more
Speaking-
awkward nights to
I was
finish
going
them.
to say,
now.
speaking of which, do either one of you think? I mean, the gauntlets with the claws, I can see that taking some time. Although, to be honest, you built an entire skin shaman outfit in one sleep session.
I think it was
narratively. So
No,
2
he-
days.
Yeah, 2
no,
days
just
on
and they
the
were
way.
they were
Okay.
travel days, so we were on horseback. So that took like 2 days worth of work.
right.
So-
Okay, never mind. I take it all. Back.
And Caradwin started before Gear did, so hers
Yeah,
will probably.
I'm thinking she will get hers finished up if she's had this long stretch of time in Grey Barrow, along with the intermittent parts in the last couple days or so. When she was working on it, that I would say she's got something done.
Yeah,
That
not gonna take
Here's
long.
a retroactive question. Would that have been a low-level vow to rebuild your bow? To rebuild a bow? I mean, even if it's only a
Like,
difficult.
in game mechanics, it might have
That's
been.
what I
but
meant. Not like did she sit down and make a ceremony about making a new bow?
Yeah, yeah. Game
We've talked
mechanically, it
we've talked
would've
before about not
probably
making
been
these.
the-
We don't make these little vows.
Yeah,
So
Well, we don't because it doesn't feel. It's like
it feels weird, but like
Yeah.
game
What
mechanically,
what
it
we-
would have been because
yeah, what
bow
we've
is
been
like-
doing is going. That's a vow and taking. So I would suggest just take an experience point for finishing it, rather than
yeah. I mean, taking an
Yeah.
experience point, maybe. Yeah.
Because you've been saying, I work on
I-
this enough times that if it was only a difficult, it only would have taken 3, right? And then you would have had.
yeah,
And
yeah.
for the viewers and all, I mean, it's like after each of these, we go through and we go, and we do our as we're doing our bookkeeping. It's kind of like, I've actually made progress on this, and
Yeah.
I didn't vow this, but I've been working pretty intensely towards it, and it's kind of like we're still
Let me
sort
give
of.
myself
Yeah, I know.
this
Well,
much
this is what
progress
episode-
and-
This is what episode 19, 18, I don't know,
Yep.
19. And we're still figuring out the whole vow thing because that is something that's very different to
The
Ironsworn.
core mechanic. It's in the title of the game, and we're
Yeah.
like,
We're
We
working,
haven't quite figured that
we're
out.
working up
yet.
to it. We're
We're
working,
working up to it. We'll be masters
We're
by the end
workshopping
of
it.
this.
But so yeah, she's probably close to finished with that by the time like we settle down for the night. But
Yep.
until then, she's working on it because now she's had some good time where she can sit and focus on it and not just at camp or something like that. we're in a relatively safe spot.
But so as we come back in, I'm sure you guys see that the dynamics are really different than they were half an hour ago when we left.
And Carradin's just watching the three of them, like, kind of like, what's changed? What happened? What aren't they telling us?
Well, I mean, we're going to come in, we're going to sit down.
Yep.
So, how are you two?
How are you?
Fine. Yeah, I know this whole not talking thing. You know, we gotta catch up.
Yeah, mind catching us up on what happened? Because Bill looked like death half an hour ago. And now he looks a little bit happier.
Looks like death warmed over.
I'm actually going to take one spirit back because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
So
It does.
The relief is clear.
yeah.
So,
Well, so yeah. You know the whole kind of oddness about shadows? And
No.
I don't know if you guys knew how freaked out I was the first time I went into shadow, which was only when we were investigating the river. I mean, doesn't that seem like a lifetime ago?
yeah, you've never really explained that. We just assumed it was kind of scarier.
Yeah, it's big and dark and scary and twisted. Twisted.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So so Bill has been haunted by something from Shadow for quite a while, and Aiden and I did an augury, and it actually came up, and so we've taken care of that part. But so you know how Tincture, was the shaman, but wasn't really a shaman. He was something else.
He was some being, right?
Yeah. Well, so it turns out, Weena and Zahn, the other two shamans,
The one from home. Yeah.
and Kinhan,
And
yeah, well, so they aren't quite as far out as Tincture, but they're not like us either. I don't know if they're closer. I don't know if they're closer to like Milva and Theo, or I haven't figured that out yet. But
Aiden will add in, like, he said he was like 600.
yeah.
Clank again. The first one, Bill dropped his bowl. He picked it up and then he heard that and dropped it again. This bowl of food that he suddenly got from nowhere because he's Bill.
I mean,
Yeah.
we probably had food from someone.
Yeah, if it was
like
he
plot device
has
food.
procure food.
And he said Weena
Yeah.
was like 300 something. Like,
Yeah.
600 what?
years old.
I'm going to leave that down there.
And and so the thing is, they also said that they are part of the past, that they're part of the age that's coming to an end.
Yeah. That balance is changing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not a part of it.
Yeah, which is really kind of scary because so Aiden and I here, we're apparently part of the new, and I assume you guys in my circle, because we all seem to be on these quests again, that you guys are also part of this new. But I'd kind of counted on some wisdom and training and stuff from, some support and foundation. And I don't think we're going to get it. But they kind of seem to think we don't need it. Don't you get that sense too?
Disagree right now because I'm afraid you'll smite me something fierce. I don't want you to have to take me outside again. But I would suggest we've already got the help. And he looks over at the white man. Or at least, and out of the darkness behind him, the red crest comes up and lands on his shoulder. We're on our way to having it.
Well, and didn't the elves say that, I mean, they stepped in that one instance, but yeah, it's about the guardian spirit.
It's all about rebirth, innit?
The four of us. They said there had to be the four of us, right?
Yeah.
And Amala, you've been working and growing as a shaman without Lena this whole time. Look at what you've done without Lena.
Yeah. But look at what we have yet to do, the four of us.
It's scary to leave guidance, but sometimes you have to. It doesn't make it impossible.
And Amala turns to Aiden and says, so at least you're a little bit ahead in that that you're part of the new, that you are more needed by your circle as they go into the future and the new than Tincture was.
Yeah, I just wish I'd gotten a little bit more information from him.
Oh yeah, I know.
I don't even know how to do rituals all that well.
I don't know, maybe rituals are part of the old. I don't know, maybe rituals are part of the old. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think we need to know about that. But anyway, so
You're just gonna stand up. And he's gonna move over to Bill's side. And he's going to move to the red crest and he's gonna hold his hand out. And the owl turns its head all the way around and begins to nestle into the back. And when it spins back around, it's got a long red feather in its beak. He takes the feather and he moves over to Aiden and just holds it out in his hand.
And he'll slowly take it, like not moving too quickly. That whole move, like, thank you.
And that's all the explanation he offers.
And he'll kind of lean over to Amala. What does that mean?
don't know, but it's good.
Okay.
As Gear walks past, Bill sort of sticks his elbow out and bumps him and whispers to him, "Aren't you supposed to tell him his name?"
Gear kind of looks up at the ceiling. Once he earns it.
I was gonna say, I didn't think. Gear doesn't know if he's earned it or not. Just met him. Just met the kid.
Yeah, and Aiden wouldn't know the significance of that yet. So
no.
And he'll kind of look to Bill. My name's Aiden.
So I think we need to get caught up, all of us. I think a lot has happened in the last, I don't even know how long with all that. I don't even know what.
Apparently, it's been days since we left Grey Barrow, so who knows?
So what do we know? What do we know about I mean, what do we know about the situation the world is in? What do we know about Cadell and the sorceress? What do we know so far? And I want Aiden to be part of this too, because I think he needs some exposure to know so that he knows what to look for and knows, can prepare his circle.
All I know is I woke up in that place, like out of a dream, and couldn't find my way out. And I kept seeing things. I saw Kadal, I heard his voice, but of course, I mean, we all know it wasn't him. It was something else. And then we met the two elves who didn't really answer any of our questions.
They were kind of like the crows. You remember how the crows used to always laugh at me when I did the auguries and they'd tell me I was asking the wrong questions?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what...
I feel like we were asking some pretty important questions, though.
I always thought that about what I was asking the crows. I mean, not so much necessarily what's the day going to bring me, but...
What did... I never saw going into where I ended up. What did you see?
Mala kind of looks over at Bill. Oh, Lordy, what did we see? We saw layers of different worlds. We saw a path that went through all these different worlds and everything kept shifting and changing and I don't know, I was kind of focused on following the tether. Bill, you were keeping watch. What did you see?
It's that we, sorry, it's that we saw it all, miss. We shouldn't have looked up. We should have just snuck. But we seen the mountains, and we woke one up.
The ones... I saw that when we were leaving. You saw that on your way through it?
Oh, there was the place with that statue.
Statue.
Twins.
Yeah.
And Bill just goes white.
What are you talking about?
So there were some places where we could see that we could take shortcuts across, or we could, bypass parts of the path. And in one of those, we were in this shrine museum. I don't know what it was, but there was a statue there, and there was this plaque, or there was something that had it told a story. It was a legend, or an old tale, one of the old tales, like the sort of thing a bard would tell.
I'd like to think that Bill would quote it word for word, kind of distantly, just like he doesn't even know he's saying it. I just don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember, to paraphrase, it depends which the world will be different depending on which twin wins. Right.
Well, and which part of it you believe it was. It is said that if twins were born, they're destined to either absolutely destroy one another or unflinchingly die for each other.
Yeah.
Right. So yes.
Ruh-roh.
Okay, but that's just a story.
Well, and it was often one of these other world things too. I mean, who knows what that means? So what did you see, Gear?
That man, Theo. I saw him. I think that when I went in there, I wasn't invited. Caradwin was. She was guided safely through this, whatever it was. But I was trapped there. I was dreaming. And the man came to me and woke me up. He pulled me from the dream. But as he did, I saw I saw this wooded area. And another one of the spirit creatures I saw, fully grown, not yet destroyed, not yet moved on to the next generation. And I must find them.
It was a different one.
Mm-hmm. They came to my aid. They guided me through the dream. But something sent it away. That man Theo is the only reason I survived that. He grabbed me by the face and pulled me from its depths.
Wow, that's a lot of things that happened in the same place. I think. Same place.
Well, and even before that, I mean, we got started in this because the river was tainted. And we followed that and we saw these blue mushrooms. Oh, the snakes! The snakes! We saw these weird snakes.
They were
Dripping.
tainted.
Yeah, dripping from the tainted snakes. And we saw these little blue mushrooms. And that was the first time, and there was a fairy circle, and that was the first time we ran into the shade that attacked. And that was the first, right before that was the first time I'd entered into Shadow and saw how kind of horrible it is. And anyway, and we cleared that out, and we learned there that I don't remember what we learned. Oh, that was so long ago.
We learned a lot there. That's when you decided to leave. Leave Kinheim.
Yeah. I turned to Aiden. Kenheim is where Weena is, and that's where I grew up and where I was apprenticed at.
Oh.
And I did not have permission to leave at the time.
It's also where I saw me.
But she made it sound like she was preparing you to leave.
Yeah. But that's not how it seemed at the time.
I think your wiener's full of crap, miss. I think your wiener's trying to take credit for something she didn't do. Her and that Zon didn't get along at all. I think she was trying to score points. is what I think. Shaming Amola.
How do you
She
know that? You got all that from what we said? Wow.
she said that she kept Amala from seeing the darker parts so that she wouldn't feel obligated to stay. Amala asked her why there was corruption everywhere but where they lived, and Rena said that there was. She just didn't let Amala know about it because then she would have felt obligated to stay and help, but she needed to go.
I think Weena is as obscure as the elves. I don't think we actually know what her agenda is or what she's capable of, or even what I'm not even sure we even know what her nature is.
But does that mean like that there's a ton of people like that just are powerful and scary and ominous out there in every community? Some
That's
like
kind of my
Tincture,
next question too.
some like Tincture, and some like the shamans.
And some like a kitty cat. Sorry.
You said their time is over. You remember when we were old in the dark, just before the mountain helped us out, and we saw them all on the horizon, all just outlines, shadows, the four of them?
Yes.
Maybe that were the transitioning. Maybe they really are different. We certainly don't look like that in the shadows.
I guess it's hard to say. I mean, Frostmouth doesn't have shamans. We heard stories of rituals, but no one did them as far as we know. So, who knows what it's like for other places?
So we know that some sort of age is coming to an end, that there's a transition. We know that the guardian spirits are dying and being replaced, that they're having a generational change too. We know that the sorceress, I've forgotten her name.
Callista?
Yes, yeah, her. I mean, we know that she scribes. We know she's pulling some strings for some sort of purpose. We know I don't know. So, but we know she's doing something, and we're getting horrors. And I don't know if the horrors are new. I mean, we've seen bone walkers. We saw a valley full of bone walkers. We've seen. Well, I mean, maybe the bone walkers aren't a nightmare. I mean, the Varu aren't a nightmare.
They did try to kill a child.
I
Mirabelle.
suspect they're all just trying to survive.
Or they're being controlled. The iron, do you remember? You never believed me. The iron, the pillars that sprouted from the earth.
I'm assuming he's talking to Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You remember?
I remember. What are you suggesting?
I think there's a reason that we haven't found any.
What's
I s-
that?
I think they're being collected.
Didn't you say they were big?
I think so. I've never
But
seen them.
that's what the messenger said, that the Iron Collector was the one Bill saw. He was
Where are they
collecting
bringing
iron.
them?
The
Where are they
iron's an
gathering all
anchor.
this?
The iron is an anchor. They want to use it to keep things like they are. You said it yourself. It corrupts magic and it corrupts nature, doesn't it? They're
Things
willing
are
to do
drawn
that to
to
keep
it.
things as they are and keep their power as it is. They don't just want some iron. They
But
want it all.
but we use the iron to defeat the Bone Walkers.
No. The Bone Walkers had their own iron. We brought them something new. What if they were angry because something had already come to take theirs? That's why they were active. The shade. It was protecting it, and we took it. All of these things that are happening.
But then how does Callista factor into this? What does Kadal have to do with this?
I don't know.
If it was just iron they were after, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
Needs
that's
to
only
be
part
something
of it.
more.
That can only be part of it. I don't think we find Callista until we find your brother. Speaking of which, we came here to Autumn Falls to find, or at least to get closer to your brother. Are we any closer to your brother?
Autumn Falls was dark, and I don't doubt that something happened there. But
We
Amala?
went to Autumn Falls because Weena sent us there.
Oh shit.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to finish writing that down because it's going to fall out of my head unless I write that down because that is huge. And your timing, as always, madam, is exceptional. Because I can think of no better sentence to go on a break on than Weena sent us to Autumn Falls.
It
Wow.
it was her scrying, or what she told us from her
Yes, it
scrying.
was. Wow. And we will take up that topic in about 15 minutes. So, for those of us that are watching live, we will see you at 1:45 the hour. For those of us on YouTube, we'll see you in about 9 seconds and a couple of slightly bad cuts. See you, see you then. Bye for now. Returning, oh dear, I didn't do the sort of roll 20 Ironsworn play thing. I'll have to put that in on YouTube, and then I'll have to edit this part out, otherwise this won't make sense. Thanks, Nerd Narrative. It's awesome. I forgot to use it. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Please don't hit me.
We were distracted.
Back, and we are playing this amazing game of Ironsworn. Weena sent us to Autumn Falls. 6 words.
So she knew in about something. But it, there were signs that Kadal and Callista had been there, that something had happened there, some ritual, but I don't know what that gave us.
Did you know your brother wasn't there?
I don't know.
I don't
From what
remember.
from
I
what
don't
I
remember exactly
gathered
what she
from,
said.
I think it was something about clues, that there would be clues to him, not necessarily promising that he would be there. It's all I had to go on. It's still all I have to go on.
Well, it led us to Callista.
Kind of.
More than kinda, miss.
A lot more than kind of.
Yeah, it's done everything to put you in danger, both of you, and given us no answers about Kadal or what she wants with him, or if he's even still alive.
But I think it has given us a next step, if I'm not mistaken. Because you, and he points at Amala, I believe, have to have a word with Miss Weena. Like, that's the first time he's ever called Weena Miss and you Shaman. Um, and he points at Caradwin and says, you said there might be clues there for you as well, perhaps? Or at least you can find out why she sent us there in the first place? You know, I need to go back and find out it wasn't me.
Didn't they say it wasn't you?
It can't have been me.
Oh, it wasn't.
There's no way I did it. There's no way, no way. I watched it. I was in the cupboard. I watched it.
And we saw it. It wasn't.
Shadows
Yeah.
lie.
Oh, Aiden, you don't know about this. Well, other than I showed the markings to the others. We've so that this Callista that we talk about, we've kind of learned that she's either behind, either pulling strings, either doing something. She's somehow involved in this, and she's somehow involved. Well, she was, we think, somewhat directly involved in Caradwin, the kidnapping of Caradwin's brother, which was kind of like, oh, we didn't tell you about that either. Which is kind of why we're sort of on this quest. We've been on this quest to kind of find out about him, and Gear had a intercepted. So Callista tried to link into the wolf friend there, and Gear intercepted that, and he got a vision that she was working a blood and bone magic, and then Bill got into that loop and or tried to push it out of the wolf friend, and so now Bill has the link. And I now have something I don't know what this means, but it's some sort of so the markings. I was given the stuff to put markings on my skin as part of learning
Tattoos?
rituals. Well, I think these will wear off. They're not burned
Okay.
into my they're not burned into my skin, but there's some things I'm kind of thinking probably should be burned into my skin, but I haven't had time to think about that. But so I go into kind of a trance, and I walk the labyrinth, and I sort of draw the markings, and it has to do with how I'm becoming rituals, processing rituals. I haven't figured that out. I haven't had time to think about any of this. Um, but I mean, the first one was this labyrinth that with the sun with light, and I've been using that labyrinth to sort of settle myself and walk the path of the labyrinth to sort of center and focus and um, enter into ritual. But I don't know yet that it would be the same for you. Haven't taught you any of this yet because I don't know that it would be the. I don't know if that's the mechanism you need.
Yeah, I guess I feel like your circle is really different from mine.
Yeah, and you are.
Yes, you should be. Just
We'll
waiting
find
for it
out
to
soon,
come up
won't
on
we?
Twitch. I think we're back. I think we're back. We're back. We're
Hang
back.
on,
We're
it's
back.
a Pokemon ad.
Oh man. Except I'm not an Ironsworn yet, but that's okay. We're in an ad.
Laughs an ad blocker.
Oh, we are in the right boxes. Yay!
Yep.
Woohoo!
Yep.
We're back.
Oh
Kevin,
my
send that
goodness.
storm
There
my
we
way,
are.
please.
We have returned. Oh wow. There's a storm in my neighborhood and my internet is awful, apparently.
Please
So
send it
we
my
have
way.
returned. We are back. Whew. So where were we when we froze? I looked up and we were froze. So what's the last thing everybody remembers?
Well, Amala was kind of explaining that,
I was catching Aiden up.
yeah, was catching Aiden up on the whole process and kind of saying that, like, but this process might be different for you, and
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was there
And
for that
Aiden
bit.
actually believed me. Woot!
yeah,
The true shaman. See, I said he was the confident sort.
so I guess exploring this thing that I now have to do, but it's gonna look different from what you do because our circles are different, and I don't know what mine needs yet. They just keep saying I'll know, but they don't talk to me.
Well, I mean, that's different than me. I didn't know what my circle needed, and I kept forgetting to ask. I look sheepishly
I
away.
think they assume that I'm like Tincture in some ways. Not always, but some ways. You know, because he never had to ask, he just showed up.
So, gear over there. Gear, maybe you should give Aiden the same talk you gave me.
Gear stands up. Come. And turns, kind of speaking both to Amala and to Aiden. And he with the white mane and the red crest in tow, is going to just walk out of the room.
Aiden will follow Amala's lead.
Oh, I thought he was talking to you.
I'm talking to both of us.
Oh,
And
and
Aiden-
scrambles up and gets up. I thought he already did the talk to me.
Maybe there's
You're
more.
still learning. You're still learning too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I even told the Varu. Anyway.
Gear kind of
Aaron's
wants
just off
to
in the
see.
corner.
Gear kind of wants to see if this battle is still going on above us too, and so he's
Yeah.
going to kind of snake his way through the tunnels and make his way out into the opening and head for the nearest patch of brush and darkness that he can find, just probably a ways off because this is like the muddy kind of flat land, right?
Yeah.
So probably a 20 or 30 minute walk.
I'm probably not quite that far because I don't think we went that far. Anyway,
Just like
at the pace of plot, however
dead
long you need it to be.
silence. Yeah, walks into the bushes and plops down into the trees. Just sits in the grass with the white mane curled up next to him and the red crest sitting there as well. And he is going to wait for Aiden and Amala to come sit down next to him. Uh-oh, I hear dices. Oh.
Oh.
Dices?
No, I think.
Oh,
I'm just making chat.
oh
putter
yeah,
along
trying to
for
get the
reasons,
stuff off.
so yeah.
Anyway.
And so Gear sits down there next, or opposite, kind of a triangular pattern between Amala and Aiden. And when he sits down, he just enters this almost stasis, like in his own way, kind of expanding his consciousness, but doing it in a more primeval, physical form. He's letting his nose and his ears be what kind of guides him in this. And he just sits there for a long moment. What is Amala doing at this point?
Looking expectantly at Gear. I mean, sitting down in her part.
Gear kind of opens one eye up in Amala's direction. Close your eyes.
Right, listening.
Aiden's just sitting there confused, like he's been given no direction.
And after what probably feels like an hour for Aiden, Gear opens
He's
his eyes.
scared to move or breathe too loudly because he's kind of scared of Gear. So he's just like sitting.
Gear will open his eyes just a sliver and ask Aiden, "What do you hear?"
The forest?
Mm-hmm. Be specific.
The wind?
Everything you hear moves. Everything you hear lives, whether you're here or not. Listening is a valuable tool. What do you smell?
Moss?
Gear kind of raises an eyebrow at him. Everything around you depends on each other to survive. There's a balance. You feel it. You move. What you crush, what you walk through, shifts everything one way or another. You must pay attention to this. Look. And he looks over to Amala. What is she doing?
She's sitting with her eyes closed, listening and trying very hard not to expand out, but trying to listen inward.
Gear continues. You must find this balance with yourself, with the people that you help, what you tell them, what you do. Tell me, your man Tincture, what did he do?
He did a lot on his own without telling anyone or needing to be told.
Why?
He was, well, now we know he wasn't all human and that he was some other kind of thing. And I guess maybe it seems he didn't have Greybarrow's interests in mind, but we didn't know better.
Do you have Great Barrow's interests in mind?
I think so.
Good. And you will do what's required to keep it safe.
I'll do my best.
And what does Grey Barrow want? Gear smiles because he knows there's no answer to this.
I don't know yet. A new shaman?
No. And he smiles. You'll do fine. But listen. You must ask. You must listen. You must hear every request and balance them with the others.
But what if they don't request?
Then you will have to see and smell. You may not listen to what they say, but you can listen to the way they feel. You can see where their pain is. You can see what they need.
Okay. I think I can do that.
If you desire what's best for Grey Barrow, then you will listen. With your ears, with your heart, and with your soul.
Okay.
Gear will close his eyes again. Just sit there. For a very long time.
Well, I mean, Bill would be inside, probably curled up around a fire again. With
Probably
feet
wiping the
just,
sweat like,
just trying to
Apollo's not here.
process. Yeah, yeah,
Melting into the floor from anxiety.
yeah. He's coming apart pretty bad right now. But
Uh-oh, Amala's becoming a tyrannical witch.
nope,
After
nope.
a
A
long,
required
long
spine.
time, after a long, long time of sitting in quiet, Aiden will kind of look at Gear and say, if you're looking for the Varu, they're that way. They're fine.
Gear kind of leans back a little bit like, oh shit, kid.
He was basically, a footstool to Tincture. He knows how to listen. And he's lived here all his life.
Yep.
Gear kind of smiles. You'll do fine. He goes to stand up, but kind of leans over and pushes Amala over before he gets up.
We'll kind of look between the two, like.
Yeah, I always feel like that after one of these talks with Gear.
And Aiden will follow back into Grey Barrow.
We don't hear any sounds of combat, or Aiden apparently doesn't.
He didn't.
Nope.
Everything sounded fine. Gear's kind of like, I didn't hear it. What's going on?
So you guys, are you coming back in then? And then we can, we will, this is probably the safest place we've been in a while. Are we going to sojourn here?
I
We
think
need
we
to
should.
sojourn.
Yeah.
We should.
Really need to sojourn.
So
Like, we're doing okay, but we...
Yeah. I think it's, I'm trying to figure out who's going to roll it, but I think we're still on, we're still looking for Cadell, right?
No,
Is our
we
primary
moved on.
objective?
It's spring. It's spring.
It's
We're
spring.
moved
so-
on. It's
Okay.
Bill's turn.
Okay, all right.
Are we going to Kinheim?
Yeah.
That's
Are we?
what I guess
Well,
that's the
not tonight,
conversation
we're
we have
not,
to
'cause
have.
We're
yeah.
not tonight, but we
Not tonight.
But
haven't
we're
fully
officially going to call
decided,
this
but
night.
we've thrown
Right.
that out there that since we're so close to Kinheim, it makes sense to backtrack.
Yeah. Okay.
But on
So
the
that is
way-
a.
Oh, on the way we're gonna get
sojourn.
sidetracked so far.
Bam.
Gear will suggest something when they all get back together, and is Bill awake? Because this has probably been like 2 hours that they've been gone.
He would have been asleep while you're gone. When you come back in, he kind of stirs and looks up.
Yeah.
Sees everybody's inside now, and just reaches up past you, and just does that with his hand, and the whole tunnel that you just came down just fills up with shadow. And that's
those
what I'm
lights
going to
out.
use to like plug the hole so we can have a good night's rest.
Yeah, I'm assuming Aiden got called off when you guys entered again because he's been pulled away for so long.
We got back within like 100 feet of the hole, and he goes, I can hear them. They're looking for me.
Danger. On a weak hit, you take one.
Fiddlesticks, one. So yes, you get one of. You can either clear a condition, so +1 health, +1 spirit, or +1 supply.
What do we add on supply?
Or recover. Ooh, I'm gonna take that momentum.
Well,
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
we're
recover.
in
Yeah,
a
you
circle,
can-
so our supply
Oh.
goes up anyway.
You're right.
'Cause we're in a
So yeah,
circle.
recuperate.
Oh, and Grey Barrow's. Oh, wait, we were at 5. Anyway,
I'm at 5 on spirit again.
let's see. Spirit, health. So what are our other choices again?
Or momentum.
Or momentum, or you can recover. Yeah, you can do that. You can provide aid. You can take a quest. And if you make an iron vow, you add +1, or you can clear a condition. Mend, hearten, or equip.
Maybe I should swear a vow instead. That might be more thematic. While Bill's here,
Mm-hmm.
and Caradwin and Amala are both here, Gear kind of walks in, he sits down, and he picks up where he left off with the gloves, and he begins stitching them, and he goes, that dream I had, The other creature. The one that came to me. I want to go find it.
Do you know where it is?
No. I think I have an idea, though.
Where?
To the southeast. The Havens. This creature's a jungle cat. It's going to be hard to find. But I have to find it before he does.
And the man Bill is after was last seen in Kenheim, moving north?
I don't know. I don't think they gave us a bearing on where he was headed. I think they just told
They
us
didn't say
that was
where he
his
was heading.
last
They
scene.
just said, yeah, he was last seen in Kenheim. But she's making the assumption of where Bill's from versus Kenheim.
And I think we need to go past the Bone Walker Castle.
That's back near Kinheim, right?
That's at
It's
home.
between
yeah.
here and it's at home between here and Kenheim.
It's part way, yeah, okay.
Because I'm thinking, I want to know if that iron is still there.
You know, I'm here to tell you I need to be an hell of a lot stronger before I go after whatever it is that made me think I were me. So let's go find that iron. Let's go find that cat.
Bill?
I'm gonna roll some. Let's see what happens. My first roll of the
Yes.
night, guys.
Yes,
Pretty
Shaman?
strong.
What was that for?
Swear an iron vow.
Oh, okay. Sir, what did you say, Amala?
You're plenty strong.
I'm stronger than I was, but I'm not strong enough for that yet. Let's go find this cat. And her brother. We still got her brother to find as well.
Gear thinks it's in the cat's in the Havens. That Holm is back north. Those are two completely opposite directions.
Well, we can go part way back. Go to that valley.
Gear, did you find the guardian of the Tempest Hills?
Let me check our map really quick.
The owls from the hinterlands
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
wetlands from your home.
Yeah. Gear, see, Austin doesn't know, but Gear would know. He'd say,
hmm
no, not yet.
So if we do end up going back, at the very least, we can look there.
Mm-hmm. We go. We see if we can find any of those bone walkers still lying around.
I'm sure they're around.
They had to go somewhere. And we see a young girl, Mirabelle. I'm sure she's still getting into trouble.
She
Amala?
dumped her soup.
What?
When Aiden and I were there. Yeah. She's convalescing and they were trying to get her to drink a strengthening broth and when the adults looked away she dumped it.
That sounds like her.
How do you know this?
We saw it. We were there. When we went to see Zahn and Weena appeared there too. We went to see Zahn, but Weena saved us the trouble of going 2 places.
So in the morning, we go back to home then.
Start on our way, yeah.
Very well.
Is it? Is it possible to swear an iron vague intent?
Iron vague intent.
What depends on what it is.
I think I know what you mean. Like, there's a thing that needs to be done. You're just not quite sure what it is yet, but you're committed to doing it. Is that what you're?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill can swear iron vows by accident.
Yes, absolutely.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah.
That's very true.
Tell us how it happens. That's the correct answer, I think.
Well, I mean, I think Amala's
by
actually
itself,
asking
man.
this
It's
because
so
swearing
weird.
an iron vow is a thing. And I think she's actually asking this over peeps.
What is your vague intent?
Well, it's big and it's dark and it's amorphous. And I can hold it back, divert it, resist it.
I'm not sure I follow.
Yeah, me neither.
But mechanically speaking, yes, I would leave a big blank and decide how difficult that is.
Let's see.
There's a vow here to be
just
determined
says,
later.
Vague intent.
Yeah.
It just says,
Vague
Yeah. How epic is your
Oh, I like the yeah,
Gear has a couple of these
it's formidable.
these gigantic bear claws
formidable
left.
It is.
Yeah.
His gift from Hollowed, and he is going to begin to sharpen them down and fasten them to some of the older, more crooked arrow shafts that Caradwin has, and begin to form cutting knives. Because if we're going to the forest, we're going to need cutting tools.
Hallowed, thank you for that question. Hallowed asked if the new vow was to push back the looming shade. No, it's to push back the thing that was behind, the he who walks behind. That was came with tincture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here I can put in parentheses. No, it wasn't the Leshen. No, the Leshen came in from the side. But if I put he who he who walks behind is specific enough that I can tell when I've made progress towards it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hollowed.
So we're going back to home then.
Or at least
that look around.
Or at least that chasm. That chasm was what, a couple hours?
Well, yeah, after we.
Yeah, still.
I think it was half. Oh no, because we're in Grey Barrow.
Yeah, we're in Grey Barrow.
This was a couple
I gotta
days
pull up
travel,
my
wasn't
map.
it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, it was
yeah.
a couple of hours from home. The chasm
Yeah.
was a couple of
So
hours
I
from
think,
home.
was it we did
A half a
7
day, I
days
think?
to get here, or 10 days to get here, all the way from Kinheim? Or from
I'd have to look back to be
because we
certain.
crossed the border. Either way, we've got days. So,
I don't have my timeline right here.
yeah, that's all right. It's going to be a number of sojourn or of undertaking journeys at the very least.
I believe the I can't even talk. the Bone Walker hole was a
Yeah.
half a day away from home because we had to ride against it while they were chasing us, remember?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've got, it's 6 or 7 days to get back to that.
This is going to be a journey.
Isn't it?
No, it can't be that. It can't be that much because we were on like day 14. I don't know. I will look it up.
We'll get back to you guys on the details.
Yeah, but it's quite a distance away from home.
way.
Is quite a distance away
Yeah.
from Grey Barrow because we switched over from Tempest Hills to the hinterlands. So
Right. Right.
my map shows it the distance. I just haven't.
But either way, I think we are on an Amala journey, correct?
I have an idea.
If we're going back there to find the iron.
I want to
that's
listen
in
to
the-
Austin.
So
You're
He's
gonna
got
argue
a
that it's
throwback.
Austin's story? Okay,
That-
yeah. That it's
here's
Gear's
something
story?
that we haven't done for a while. Is
Gear can be Spring. We still haven't figured out who Spring yet is yet.
normally, if we were out in the wilderness, what we would do is a quick gather information as we're taking watches.
Yeah.
To kind of complicate and add breadth to our story. What do you say we all take an introspective look and gather some information about our thoughts and see what comes up?
Oh, I
Ooh,
like
it.
I
this.
like that though.
This sort of
That's our
change.
night
This
watch.
is a
Our
moment
night
where
watch
we're
of reflection.
Because that would be
Oh.
well, and I can even imagine that Caradwin and Gear have been working on this all day as they've been like crafting, like just like
Wow,
stuck with
that's
their
magnificent.
We'll see where all those weak hits we have our complications ready.
thoughts. So are we gonna just roll a gather information, but just
Yeah, let's.
I think that's perfectly reasonable. It was your idea, so you go first.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, absolutely. That's only fair. That's only fair.
Gather information, roll wits. I'm not using my hound's keen senses, and I'm not using my woodland
No, I don't think. I
knowledge.
think these are all plus zeros, right? These are just like a raw, straight gather information.
Oh, there it is. The weak
It's not
hit.
bad.
The complication. See what the wording says. The information complicates your quests or adds a new danger. And so Gear is still kind of working, and he remembers this dream that he was thrust into. He's not sure if it was a dying dream or the lack of oxygen or what it was, but he remembers pushing his way through this black forest, the vines, an inky black color, and just using his primeval sense to get around, and being confronted with this pair of yellow cat eyes. And this is his goal, is to find this creature. But what he remembers from that fever dream is there was something that stood in between him and the creature. The anti-dryad had manifested and left him with that nasty scar that's still healing.
Yeah.
And he knows going to this place means tangling with that creature again.
Okay.
So that complicates my quest a little bit.
It does. Anybody volunteering to go next? I'm hovering over the die if nobody else wants to go.
Go for it.
Yeah, we're doing it that way. Wow, that's all I can roll tonight is dark gray weak hits.
I don't know, it's better than all the red that happened earlier.
Yeah, your computer was like shutting down. Like, nope.
Okay. If anybody was looking, he's probably got his back turned. But I'm using my fingers to do like shadow puppets on the wall with the fire. But because the fire is flickering, it's like they're moving. But they're excuse me, unbelievably realistic, and they are the four figures that he saw on the horizon in the shadow in the tunnels. And his fingers stop moving, but they keep moving. And he starts to sort of like, he's getting scared and worried, and then he stops. There's this little grin. He looks down at his finger, and he looks down it and lines it up. And his finger lights up. And he uses light to dispel the shadows one at a time. You're gonna have to wait, me. And commits to going on this trip. Mechanically, I'm adding yet another level to the threat of my original vow by not going after that guy and choosing to go on this one instead. So
Makes sense.
that's it. Next.
If you've got it, Caradwin, go ahead and go. Mine's close, but not quite.
Wow, it's all we can roll tonight, huh? As she's trying to fall asleep for the first time in a place that isn't you know, elven meadow of mystical power, she's thinking on all this new information that's come today. And there's been a lot of it. And she starts thinking about how they've met so many of these people that are either corrupt in their, you know, there's tincture and there's the shade and all that kind of stuff, or they're not necessarily corrupt, but they're dying out, like the shamans and stuff like that. And her mind keeps, for some reason, going back to Frostmouth and their grouping of circles, grouping of steadings, and just kind of thinking on that. And like, they don't have shamans, so what would it be, and what kind of process? And her mind keeps swirling, and she's not sure if this is just, you know, jumping to conclusions or not, but she can't help that tingling in the back of her head that what if Vaden is someone like that? And what if he somehow, in some way, had a hand in the disappearance of Kadal?
That certainly complicates things. And finally,
Interesting.
So, Amala, as she sinks down in, and instead of expanding out, you know, sort of sinks in and grounds within herself, and realizes she does still have a little glimmer of light in there. And she lets it expand to sort of fill the space.
Yeah.
And she sort of sees herself as, you know, the shaman's apprentice. And her daily pattern of, you know, the crows in the morning and the light at night and the routine and the innocence, and feels a bit of a sense of loss, because both of those have failed her several times recently. And it used to be the staple and constant of her life, but it's like part of that has just sort of been peeled away and sort of torn off of her. And it left sort of an iron core that she hadn't known she had before that. but then even, and we traveled with that, but then even that was sort of cracked and flaked away as it became, less of the structures and the powers around her, and it became more of what was within her, and it became more of the markings and the visions, and it became, bigger and more organic. And there's this feeling of being right on the cusp of even that being torn away or dissipating into smoke, or at heart this kind of fear, because doesn't she realizes that she's currently relying on things that she even dream existed a 10-day ago. And fast as things are changing, it's gone and the world's going to be, and she's be completely different 10 day from now. Are you still picking me up? I just got to notice my internet signal's weak.
We've had you.
I'm seeing you jittery, but you're still here.
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the big thing. And there's this fear, what could be, because she says that she can see a path of how people got there, how Callista got where she is, which initial reaction was that sort of brings her down to my level. It makes her more human. It makes that I can do. And then this dawning realization that also makes it pretty easy for me to face the same temptations, and there's no guarantee which way I would fall. And how much is going to be precautions? Because I remember when I first started stepping into shadow, I first started really playing with new rituals, and first it was stop and center first in order to get that in there. But I'm going to need something more than that. There's going to have to be something that I can trust and rely on, and the safety net is. So not only do I need to work on the community rituals because my circle needs them. I can't just think I am part of my own circle, and I need to do the community things that I need too, that all four of us have needs in this web. Only serve the triangle, I will certainly be doomed to failure. I will be outside and I won't have the safety net, and I'm almost certainly doomed to cross that line, I fear. But giving in to fear is a stepping back and a way me into it. So somehow I have to get through that fear to go out the other side, and my circle is going to be the key to that as well. Not sure how much of a complication that is.
I feel like you had the realization that, hey, I'm starting on a path that could lead to severe darkness, and I don't know
Yes.
which options to choose to keep me from
Yes.
doing that. I'm pretty sure that this is a really big complication.
there was also a sort of moment of the need for your part of this circle that you need to support. So you need to support yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just worry about us. You need to worry about yourself too, right? That's what I got out of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're
I mean,
they go
it's a
hand
more
in hand.
it's a more bigger thing.
Yes.
I mean, hopefully, I come out of that breaking away and the peeling away the layers. I come out as a butterfly.
One would hope, yes. Well,
And then I get eaten by the crows. Oh.
and then you get eaten by the crows, yes. Well, so we seem to be at a natural turning point here. I know we're like still 10 minutes early. Do we want to make our journey roll to get us
On the road.
on the
Or
road again?
should we start with that one next week?
Or we start with that next week?
I
How
don't know.
about-
On one
how about-
hand, it would be nice to roll it now because I'm a little
Yes.
afraid that in the intervening week, Austin might go in and change it so everything comes up bone walkers.
That's gonna
Well,
happen
I have a
anyways.
compromise.
We all have DM privileges in Roll20 here. So.
I have a compromise offer. Why don't we roll it, but not explain it until next week? So we've all got a week to think about what
How to
the
avoid bone
result
walkers.
is.
My question is, who's rolling it?
It's not me this time, so
Who's, I guess, yeah, this is the logical time to ask the question, who is Spring?
Ruh-roh.
I'm
Did-
autumn, so
Yeah.
I'm safe.
yeah,
Did-
yeah. Gear is looking for. Kevin has said that Bill is pointedly avoiding
Yes.
his. So
Yeah.
I would argue Gear is Spring.
It's got to be Gear, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Your roll.
If Bill is pointedly avoiding it,
Yep.
that's what I would argue.
Let's see here. Undertake a journey. Roll plus wits. If you are setting off from a community with which you share a bond, add +1. I don't
it's
think
fair
I
to
have
say
a
we share a
bond
bond
with
with these
Greybarrow.
people. Yeah.
I don't think I do.
You don't have a bond, no, with them.
Nope.
Other than training their shaman?
Well, I would argue Amala
That's
has a bond
actually a
with
good
him.
point. Yeah,
But,
I would
that's
argue
true.
that she
Yeah, I
does.
would say he certainly has a bond with their shaman.
Which is part of the community.
I
A
mean,
big part.
arguably
And
is the
going
community.
to influence.
I mean,
and
I would
influence the direction
say
of the community.
the magnitude of the person that likes me is greater than that of the magnitude of the person that dislikes me.
Yeah.
You know.
I
that
would
could be
take that as a bond.
Too,
Absolutely.
honestly.
Naya doesn't like me. Aiden he's probably
He's-
coerced to like me though because I'm scary.
He's
Yeah.
scared of you, but he respects your insight.
Well,
He's just
Amala
scared of you on a
respects you,
personal level.
and he respects Amala. Therefore, I think it would be fair to say that he would respect you.
Yeah, he's just also scared of you.
Yes.
All right, so
also,
we'll add
yeah,
+1.
It's not either. It's also.
Okay, I like weak hits.
Okay. Are you? Well. Are you?
Did you look at what that means?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So let's leave on that note. The journey starts with a weak hit. And we will all have a week to think about what a weak hit means.
A week.
It means a complication.
We'll have a week.
We will have a week to think about the week. We weeked at the end. Oh,
Did you guys just put me in charge of the arc where we're going back to the Bone Walkers?
yeah.
You did this to
through-
yourself.
Through what we're going
did
through
this to
Bone Walker
yourselves.
Valley. We're going to the
Amala
Bone
could've
Walker
taken
Valley
this
and then
as a
off to
no.
look for a crazy cat that you've only ever seen in the dark. Oh, wow. Thank you guys again. It was a little lower key this week, but it was certainly interesting. We have definitely turned a corner. A new season has definitely begun. And it feels like we're kind of starting to take the momentum instead of it happening to us. We're starting to do it to them. So that's a
We
really
have
cool
more
feeling.
agency in what's happening.
Yeah.
We know more about what's happening. We aren't just like, oh, darky
Yes,
like,
exactly.
pretty tree.
It's a very
I think we're
realistic
still
feel.
like that.
Yes.
We just have
We
more
are,
stuff
but we have
behind
we have,
us.
we
We're
have
just
some
slightly
more
more, yeah.
information.
Oh wow! So
We're moving to
with
something instead of away from something.
Until we get to the Bone Walkers.
Yeah.
so, whew. Let's do the around the box thing that we always do because it's time. Robin, this upcoming Tuesday is going to be the last time your art is on Deadlands. What do you tell us about? Well, here's your chance. Which one was your? Go ahead. Nobody's watching. Which one was your favorite one of all of you? Because you did 6. Because you
I did
redid
do
2 of
6.
them.
To draw or to like my favorite character. I don't know which one.
No,
yet.
no, no. We won't do that to you.
Okay,
Which one was your
cool.
favorite one to draw?
My favorite one to draw was probably the second Lucius piece was probably the most fun to draw just because there were a lot of I think the most Alice was really fun because I got to get really technical with like the daguerreotype camera and
Yeah.
things like that, and that was really fun. But with Lucius's second season form, there was a lot of communication between me and his player, and it was very fun. And when there's that depth of communication and kind of like, hey, this is some inspiration I've been looking at. Oh, great, I can use that. It really makes the process more fun and more interactive. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it the most. All of them were really great to do and kind of pushed me out of comfort zones, but I think that was why I enjoyed that one the most, just because there was just so much back and forth throughout the whole process.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. There's a little behind the scenes for people because even I didn't know that. I knew you talked with them. I didn't know it was a back and forth thing. That's really
Oh
cool.
yeah, I talked with both him and I talked with Ryan a little bit
Sure.
about Baptiste, but with Sam, I talked with him quite a bit about the back and forth of what he was thinking for the
Yeah.
imagery and stuff. So it was very cool.
Well, I'm going to say it showed. You captured those people, and I think your art style actually affected the way that they saw their own characters. And I don't know. They just did this week. They just did in Hero Forge in their Hero Factory. They did Alice
yeah.
and Baptiste.
I did.
Or
see
sorry,
that,
Alice
yeah.
and Jet, and
Jet,
they
yeah.
look an awful lot like a certain artist may have inspired their choices. I was very very happy to see that. Thank you for that. I really it really added to the stream, and it was very professional and it added to everything that we did. So thank you for that very much. And they can find you Thunder Escape 7 in all the medias, right?
Pretty much all of the medias, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, I think is still there, YouTube. Thunderscape 7 most places.
Yep.
So, and I do art, and if I'm not doing art, I'm usually posting memes or something stupid like that. So.
Well, and or something like keeping our wiki up to date, ridiculously
Yes.
complicated wiki up
Yes,
to date
I
as
do.
well.
And it gets more and more complicated with each session we do.
Bloody
but
week, yeah.
It
Which
keeps
is
just
marvelous,
growing.
wonderful, and
I think
amazing.
the last time I checked, it had like over 200 pages on it.
Uh-huh.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's 120.
Sorry,
that was hyperbole.
120.
120 is still a lot.
pages in 19 episodes. That's a lot of information.
Yeah. So that the wiki includes information on our characters, information we've given during stream, our vows, different aspects of the Ironsworn game itself, including
Yes.
different pieces of delve that it links back to where you can purchase it, but different ones we've used, and the timeline that Karis keeps up.
Right, that I haven't done anything
confusing.
on in a month.
For the most part, it's going. Not everything is
I'll
always
get back
exactly
to it.
up to
I'll
date,
get back to
but,
it.
life happens.
Life
And there's art up there too, and just everything. If you have
and all
questions,
the different interrelations and interweavings of our world.
Yes.
That we keep drawing more and more of.
More and more and more. Oh, next, let's talk to Karis for a little while. I know the only way to describe your schedule recently and in the future is chaotic, I think is probably fair to say. Uh,
Question mark,
Yeah.
question mark, question mark.
yeah.
Yeah. Real life's kind of kicking my butt at the moment, but
Mood.
one thing that's really fun is a group of D&D players have committed to donating monthly to Extra Life on my fundraising page to sell to benefit the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. And we did our first of the monthly games. They're exploring in Eberron, and so
Oh.
I'm getting into Eberron and all this for them. And we had a wonderful session on Tuesday, which the VOD is still on is still on Twitch, and I think the video went live on YouTube this morning. If wasn't this morning, it'll be tomorrow morning. But I had it all set up and all. So it's one of those things that one of the things on my page is if you want to, if you like what you're seeing in terms of the gaming and you want a game DM'd by Karis, I do this for donations to Extra Life as a fundraiser. So
That is
that's
absolutely
fun.
awesome. I didn't know about that. That is spectacular. What a great cause. And I guess that leaves us with Austin, who, although, because he's got zero time left in his life, I happen to know has recently added yet another night of gaming with some other folks that I might know, because. If I may paraphrase, they were looking for some place where they could play a darker campaign. So you
Yes.
went, oh, I think I have one. Tell us about that a little bit.
I was voluntold to
Yes, yeah,
host a
that's a
campaign.
very good way to put that.
So I play on Monday nights with a group of DMs, and this was originally an adventure that I had built for them. So it is pretty oppressive. It's pretty complicated. I reskinned it, downscaled it, and stuck a bunch more stuff in it for Karis, for Robin, and then for another player in our Wednesday night game.
He's
And
also been in some fun shots.
yes, I
Yes.
extended an invitation to Kevin. Kevin is still potentially on the list for an addition in there, but so far we have 3 characters wearing absolutely nothing, running around the city, scrambling, trying to escape the guard that is coming down on them in waves. Our assassin rogue is stabbing people with a screwdriver. Our barbarian is wielding a longsword she pulled from the corpse of a guard. And our sorcerer is hiding inside a building away from all the combat at the moment.
Yeah.
And they just found one of the big guys. And so they're going to have to go against that next session. It's a very dark and oppressive game. All of the characters have a compulsion based on one of the 7 deadly sins that they can either ignore or kind of welcome into themselves.
Embrace.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be pretty interesting.
I think
Yeah, he was
chat
he
just
was
named it for you.
voluntold.
Yes.
Yeah, he was voluntold because
Dungeon Souls.
he
That's
because he basically said, "Oh no, you don't want to play at my table. It's too dark. It's too dark." And it's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
a character. I have a character that'd be perfect for it. Oh, I have a character that'd be perfect. I have a character that'd be perfect for it." It's like, okay,
Everybody's
we have
got
characters that would
one.
be perfect for you. Got to run it now for us.
think, and you guys have seen me be dark, but Karis's first 15 minutes of this adventure, she killed 2 people, 2 innocent people.
I did.
That was pretty interesting.
I chose vulnerable people and called them. Yes, I mean because I needed guinea pigs to try something, and so yes,
There was
I don't know what you're
information.
talking about. I'm a sweet, innocent child who's never,
Yeah.
ever done anything good.
I think Robin beat the head of one of the guards in with a rock at the very beginning. That's where she got her sword from, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
A little bit.
I think that was what it was a rock. It might have been something else, but I think that's.
I think it was a piece of rubble or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
because that's what they
Building
were
rubble,
moving. They were
yes.
moving.
Yeah, well, you know, the
I've
guards
watched
were
them do
demanding
that.
the guards were demanding that they move this stuff, so her character
Mhm.
did. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll move it over where they were.
exactly. Yeah.
Slave's gotta do what a slave's gotta do, you know?
It was pretty interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Kevin, if you decide to join us, or if you have the time, it will be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we have the background. We've got the background intertwining, so you'd have an entry in.
That remains to be seen whether I'm going to be available for that one or not. But I
may
guess
be
that naturally
scheduling
gets it over to me.
Mhm.
On
Perfect segue.
tomorrow, we're doing a fun shot that I've been really looking forward to. We're gonna have 6 players and me do a jailbreak
Ow.
from a women's penitentiary, and that's all you're gonna find out. There's a trick,
Can't
but
say
nobody's
much
gonna
because
find that
two
out
of
till
us are
tomorrow.
here.
There's 2 of them are sitting right here, so yes. And then on Sunday over on Mercs of Mischief Twitch, the second episode of my time traveling investigation adventure for 3 very good friends over there. 2 of the original members from Mercs of Mischief and 1 of the original Warlocks, and myself. Rambling through time and changing history on a regular and continuous basis.
A
Then
very
on
fun
Monday
adventure.
it's been the first one was a good time. We'll see. They're going back to medieval England, or no, sorry, Renaissance England for the
Renaissance.
or Italy. Let me get some words out. Renaissance Italy for the second one.
A time period, a place, whatever.
And
Something,
then
something.
on Monday over there, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm not part of it, but I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a guest DM coming over there, Mandari. She was a guest player with us once before, and we get to see her run a campaign for some people over there. So that's going to be good fun. And next Thursday, back here with you guys. Another full week ahead of me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. But with that, I think we can do the thank yous, the 5 thank yous. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Karis. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, the folks over there on Twitch watching us live. And thank you to all the people watching this on YouTube in the future. And with that, be safe, people, and please be nice to each other. Good night. Bye.